Sentinels has my utmost respect. I think they're definitely one of the best teams here in Americas. Last time we played against them in Kickoff, and I think we won, but they won the first map, so it didn't even matter that we won. They qualified, we didn't. Looking to get revenge this time.
So now Zelsis placed in a 1v3.
And the stall there is permanent. Yeah, I can force him off the angle. How about that? The flash over the top.
Is Zelsis ready for this? Does he have any idea Trent's just on the other side? And how has he done that? Zelsis! Now down to the 1v1, but he's getting flanked. Is he aware? Knife up! Zelsis! It's unbelievable!
This is a big match for us. If we win this, we're locked in as the top 2 seeds, which makes our run to Seoul even easier. And that's all we got our eyes locked on. Making champions, getting to travel the world is the best part of this whole thing, and we want it really bad.
Obviously now an issue behind, but they can't hear. That's a Haunt committed, as well as the Nightfall and Valyn fighting forward for 3.
I think for us, as long as we can kind of start a bit hot, maintain that level of focus throughout the whole match, I think we can win.
Welcome back, everyone, to VCT Americas. And if you're new here, you're just watching for the first time, well, look at you. You're just in time. It's our final match of the entire regular season. I mean, really, great timing on that one there, buddy. Of course, I'm Golden Boy. You got Doug. You also have Mimi here as well. We're going to break down everything with this matchup because, funny enough, this is the game that actually has some pretty decent ramifications as we get ready for the playoffs.
Every other game this week has been seeding within the same area or completely useless. This is the match that really matters today. There's one more slot for one of those top 2 seeds that allows you to skip your way through the single elimination phase and be one match from Shanghai.
Yeah, we earned this one. After the stuff we've been through the last couple of days.
Maybe wear a clown costume.
Yeah, this feels like this is well-deserved and well-earned, and I do think it's going to be a banger. I was having a conversation with Kaplan a couple of days ago. This is so big for them and for their team and what their goals are throughout the end of the year to go from Madrid and then miss out on Shanghai. The crown jewel is Korea.
Yeah, exactly. Champions.
It would be a massive kind of completion to the bounce-back story of falling off in Stage 1, having the full reset, going to the beach for a while. They've been flawless Stage 2 thus far. Sentinels yet to drop a match, but G2 hasn't lost a series either in this stage. These are, I think, pretty clearly the 2 teams who have gone the furthest when we've seen Americas at international events thus far, fighting for a chance to make an easier run to that final international.
Yeah, they're right there.
And I think what's most impressive about these 2 teams, as you think about them, is, again, you go through Madrid, Sentinels hit a hangover period, right? G2 did not. So we'll come back to that later. I'm really excited to see how this plays out.
Yeah, honestly, Sen and Stage 2, I think, have looked really clean. The most obvious thing, I think, is just getting the fundamentals back under control. I think they're playing a lot of similar comps, similar ideas. I mean, they're playing the basic Breach Sova onto Haven, but all of the solutions they have come up with have looked really good. Tens and Second are back in the form at the beginning of Kickoff. It feels like a return to form for them.
It feels like a weight has been lifted off of them, and they can play a little bit more comfortably. There's not really the same amount of stress. I think you're absolutely right, and so much of that is what's contributing to the return to form.
And when you watch Sentinels in some of Stage 1, you could see how exhausted they were, especially for John QT, the IGL, and Kaplan, the coach. I think that rest heading into Stage 2 was actually so big, because the game plans and specific prep for teams have been great. And on top of that, I think John's calling has been in peak form throughout this stage.
Oh, well, without a doubt. I mean, I think everyone's just gone out and say, John QT's been absolutely magnificent throughout this season here. Another person that's also been magnificent for this team has been Zelsis. We often talk about him being the individual that will carry a lot of that energy, that hype, that you would desperately need to keep your mind focused when you're in these high-octane situations. But you know what, Doug, he doesn't just do that. He also puts up numbers as well. He contributes significantly to this team.
Yeah, and I think we can have this conversation around, are they playing the easier teams in Americas this time around, and what have you. But I think it's more than that. I think you see a lot of it in the body language, in the demeanor, in the way they carry themselves, in the way, as you were mentioning, Zelsis has delivered, not just in the vibe merchant and the feeling and all that stuff, and that's true and that's fine and whatever, but the way he's been delivering in the server and outside of the server has been really impressive.
But I will also say that I think they have played the easier half of the teams in Americas in the second stage. I think that's just a fact, and I think that's why this match is so important. Beyond just the seeding, this is really the kind of like vibe check to see how strong Sentinels really is going to be against another one of the top teams in Americas going into playoffs now.
And what I really love about this particular matchup is, you know, the trajectory of both of these teams, interesting, right? For Sentinels, hot start, doing everything you could possibly want, gets to Madrid, wins Madrid, does everything you could possibly ask for, and then slumps. But then G2, on the other hand, they were struggling in that time, and then they found that second gear. So now they kind of like leapfrog, and then we saw their Shanghai performance, top 3 finish there. This is a G2 team that has been through the ringer up until this point. And for them to be, they were in Ascension last year, and now they're fighting for an opportunity, not just for playoffs, but they're also fighting for their spot at Champions, and it's looking damn good that they might lock it in.
Yeah, I think what's most impressed me, this was what I was starting to talk about earlier. Most teams, after a crazy year, after a crazy season, they hit international stage, they're on the ground, or they're on the grind for a month at a time in foreign land. They hit a slump when they get back. Sentinels was a perfectly good example of that, but G2 come back after Shanghai, after being on the road as long as they have been, and they look so good.
Yeah, and compared to Sentinels, who like blitz their way through stage 2 or yet to drop a map, all of these series that G2 have been playing have been really close, really tough series. But I think what matters is that they proved that ability to come back, that like tenacity they showed at Shanghai. If you remember,
the resiliency.
Their comeback against Team Heretics in the second game, all of those series where they looked out and they recovered, they've shown that they've been able to replicate that now domestically, and also to replicate some of the individual player performances and just general form of Shanghai.
Yeah, that resiliency that we have accredited G2 with so much throughout Shanghai, you know, it has been just absolutely incredible to see them just continue to build off that. And a big part of that as well is the IGL Valyn. So let's go ahead and hear what he had to say as he was talking to Smix earlier on.
Valyn, the stakes are super high today because if you get the win, you secure a second seed and a bye in playoffs, but you're going up against an undefeated Sentinels. If you can share, do you see any potential holes in their gameplay that you might be able to take advantage of today?
I think they're a team that has similar problems to us. Sometimes they start a bit slow. I watch their comm videos and they always try to like bring up the vibes and get the comms going. So sometimes maybe their holes are that they start a bit slow. But regardless, I think they are one of the best teams in America, so it's going to be difficult today. But I will share that we've been feeling very good for this match. So, you know, if we play like how we've been playing in practice and bring the confidence and energy today, I think we're going to come out with the win.
We absolutely love to hear that. Good luck today.
Thank you.
And they're going to need to bring it all when they go up against Sentinels, an undefeated team in this stage. But, I mean, you know, goes without saying, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think that was the interesting thing in listening to Valyn speak there is that he mentioned that it feels like Sentinels have slow starts. They haven't dropped a map this entire stage. So it does really feel like Sentinels is at this peak high. But you know what I really love about G2 is that they've never really been the kind of team who's concerned about what the other team is doing. Yeah. They're going to focus in on themselves. They know that if their core is strong, they can take down anybody. And I think that's going to have to be the case today.
Yeah, I'm very much excited for where this match can potentially go, of course. We're going to dive into our predictions and agent select coming up after this short break. Don't go anywhere, folks. It's G2 versus Sentinels. Match of the weekend. We'll see you on the other side. All right, folks, welcome back. Let's go ahead and dive into the predictions of our broadcast team. See who they think is going to win. And I'm excited for this little dialogue that we're going to have because there it is. I'm the only one on this desk that picked G2.
Would you like to go first?
Oh, I mean, I really do feel like G2 as a unit plays incredibly well. Sure. Look, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a tough matchup. This is going to 3, and it's going to be down to the wire. But I really do believe in Valyn and the G2 guys.
And it's time for me to propagate the narrative of underrating G2 that has been so pervasive throughout this team, this organization's entire run. But I really feel like when they have played against, throughout the year, the top team in Americas, the squad in the best form, they've tended to stumble. Think about the messy match against Lev in stage 1. Think about the game they played against 100
Feels
Thieves
like every time we think G2 is there, then they just take a step back.
Yeah, and I wonder if there is some block against these top teams, like your Sentinels, 100 Thieves last stage. I think there is something there. And I think Sentinels are in such clean form right now. I mean, they have not dropped a map, which is honestly why I have to favor them.
Yeah, you kind of can't. I think the tough thing for G2 here is that they're not just playing against Sentinels. I think they're playing against Destiny. Ooh. I think for a team to go through Kickoff the way they did and then lose and then win Madrid and then miss out on Shanghai, I mean, the script is so boringly easy. This is Sentinels' year. And it starts today. They're going to win today. They're going to get through the bye. They're going to win in the first round of playoffs. They're going to qualify for Seoul, and then it's over from there.
I hope we have the clown suit standing by. That will be a funny one. All right, folks, so let's go ahead and do this bad boy, shall we? Last match of the regular season. So let's send it down to the stage. Bring out our two teams, G2 and Sentinels.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy and Riot Games Arena. It is down to our final match, and we have saved the best for last. Give it up for our first team. It's G2 Esports.
If you with us, buy the bundle. Say you survive the bundle. Barely time to buy the bundle. For this ton of errors rumble. Cause you know we titans in this game. Ain't no contest. If we take it to the game, turn a wild west. We ain't faking what I claim. It's a wild threat. No rook, we been a vet. Now check the mindset. By the name of G2. Gotta take over the world. How we come through. You just follow in the herd. We don't have to. Let's forget about what you heard. Probably ain't true. This ain't go to. Cause you know it's G2. Gotta take over the world. How we come through. You just follow in the herd. We don't have to. Let's forget about what you heard. Probably ain't true. This ain't go to. Cause you know it's G2. Can't be called a newcomer. We've been up for several summers. Seeking how to step in commas. If you with us, buy the bundle. Say you survive the bundle. Barely time to buy the
And now it is time to welcome their opponents on stage. I want to hear everyone loud and proud. It is Sentinels!
Our last match of the regular season, Sentinels versus G2 Esports. And let's set the stage real fast for what these two teams are going to be playing for here, because this matchup is going to have ramifications for the playoffs. If Sentinels manage to win, they'll give themselves that top 2. They're good to go. But G2 have an opportunity to take that away from them and be in the top 2 and get that bye. That would be massive for this young team.
Both of these teams have made a run at a global event this year. They've come the deepest of any America's squad. G2 finishing 3rd in Shanghai, which no one expected, and Sentinels pulling off the win over Gen G to start the year. There is still spots open for both of these teams to make it. But for either of them, no matter how good they've been this stage, playing single elimination, there's always a chance of getting upset and your year going awry. And that's why this match is so big.
And your series layout's going to be Bind, Lotus, and Ascent. I feel like I've said that before.
Just in different order, but
just in different order.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
But we are going to get that bind.
Yeah, I think watching both of these teams walk onto the stage, it felt like such an accurate representation of how they carry themselves all the time. Even in the huddle, Sentinels were like jumping up. Celsius was smiling. You can tell like they're very much leaning into what they know. And then you go to the other side of the stage. Not a good time to say this. Is Jody P smiling on the camera? But I saw Valyn. You know, it's business. It's all business, and that's been their calling card. All the way back.
You and I saw Valyn literally in the hallway as we were going to get food. You could tell my guy was dialed in.
Yep.
They know that this is a big match, not just because of what's going on with the top 2, but also because they got to pop off in these big moments. They have to prove that they can, Doug.
And I think that's when G2 is often at their best. When you see Valyn like locked in, that's often a bad sign for the opposing team.
We'd expect Agent Select to be mirrored here. Both these teams have stuck to the more classic Sky Gecko that was kind of defining early in stage 1, and Sentinels are actually going to make a big change here. So they're going over to the deadlock. We saw them experiment with this on Lotus. Biggest strengths to look out for, they're attacking host flanks, throwing down that net on the execute, the barrier mesh, the sensors to keep people out, and on their defensive side as well, there's a lot of tools there to set up flood retakes off the util. It's going to be cool to see how they cook this up.
It's going to be exciting. Riot Games Arena, let's make some noise as we get ready for map 1. We're going to send it over to your casters, backed by popular demand. It's the trio of Bren, Sideshow, and Bala.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, what a match here. Our last one of the regular season. Everything matters, you know, and the TriCast was so good. Had to run it back again. You know, the BBS combo, you should be known as L Show. We could have a real good show and wordplay going on. But yeah, there's a lot to play for. I mean, the desk is already set and teed this one up. But honestly, you win in terms of the playoffs. You skip all of that early finagling in terms of the seeding. You manage to lock in that number 2 spot, which means you are 1 win away from champs. In the case of Sentinels, if they win here today, they've already locked champs.
And both of these teams being the top performers, the teams that made the runs at the international events. So much in terms of their team play, you can point to similarities between the squads. Sen arguably better on paper, but G2 have defied expectations at all times against super teams like this.
I'm looking for fast play out of Sentinels to set the pace throughout this game on this attack side. Already pushing it up towards long, trying to spot Jonah P. There's no more of that early flashing info, so pushing him off of that super early could gain them an advantage on the other side of the map as well.
Dizzy's up top. Dizzy has targets.
There's the acknowledgement, at least with the Dizzy up into the air. Mid-round information. Pretty vital commodity. You have to try and fight over G2. Nice little high-low setup, getting a decent amount of damage onto Zekken.
That's a high-low setup that they use a lot. Caught out a bunch of teams that they've played against. And Sen immediately aware of it. You saw the way that Zekken peaked.
And look at that buffer that you actually have from Trent with his flash info. They're not using a single flash from Jonah P, so you could use it on the retakes.
And here comes the group up towards short, though. Sen, after playing a very slow default for a minute, are ready to exec.
I'm going to have Showers control, though. They're setting up Prime to the util. Dizzy over the top, Horn to follow through. Gives them access to the front of it. But again, they have to watch for the Showers control. Icy, this time with reinforcements, TP and quick onto the trail as well. John QT cannot hold his ground. It's dropped at a moment's notice, but the spike has been planted. You've got that extension and a reflank occurring. Rapidly approaching Jonah P. It's a shot to the head straight away. Sassy is going to be dropped. Ted's going for more. Trying to lock it down into the short angle, but G2 fundamentally on point.
Icy as well, being able to take out Zekken as your opening kill of the round. That's going to be a head-to-head to follow. So much criticism has been pointed towards Icy, and yeah, he's not superstar player for G2, but he does the business that his team needs. And clearly here, we're set up in a position, especially with the flood back in through the teleport, to secure and hold an important piece of map control.
Risky peek too on Zekken. The fact that he gets that enables that teleporter to come through for everybody else who, remember, was at that B side holding control of long. So crucial.
And if G2 have a ton of protocols around that, we're gonna pause the timer for a moment.
Yeah.
Gotta get, where was the bingo card? We don't have it today.
I know.
We could have done with this one yesterday.
Could have been an easy one to cross off the list.
I don't think we've got the bingo yet from 3 days ago, or whatever it was.
Get Oxy out here, maybe he can ace. G2 though are already showing us, and I think when you look at how they've played on Bind, their control over B long is really nice. They've got the early garden jiggle peaks and that kind of stuff. They fall back into high-low setups a lot. They have the ability to re-push for info, and as we saw in the pistol round there, they're perfectly happy to reinforce Showers by flooding through that teleporter. And I was taking a look at how Sassy was playing on the pistol round. He is quite a passive player, and it's also, it looks like it's his job to cover the market flank as well. Remember, Sentinel's composition here, playing with a deadlock, can't just put a trip up in market and go and forget that. They're going to have to keep active eyes on it, and so Sassy, he was kind of torn between two worlds. Do you go and try to pinch the players in Showers and maybe secure that fight, or do you go back and watch market? Yeah. I think he's going to get torn up a lot if they keep that same idea.
I would be looking as well to see him be with what we saw a couple days ago with the deadlock on this map, using that nade early over, kind of like how you use a Viper Molly a lot to take control of Garden, to push off Jonah P and Trent of that info line that you're talking about so well that they use. Those sorts of things are super crucial at the beginning of rounds.
And I know that we're not doing a biased cast today, you know, we've left out with the Leviathan and Furia game, but I was a little surprised to see that it was only myself and Golden Boy, I think, that went with G2 as being the favorite team. And Sen have looked immaculate this stage, haven't dropped a map, superb stuff. But I am wondering at what point G2
get respect.
Their flowers, get the respect. Because when I'm looking at this matchup, there's so many similarities between these teams in terms of the way that they play tight together, and that's their strength, is the team play and the protocols they've worked on. But also, from a wider perspective, Sentinels, one of the most recognizable teams and one of the most recognized teams in terms of their brand value, but also their success, versus a team here that is struggling, despite success, for recognition for that respect. And this game, if G2 can take it, take that second seed, it's another step to putting their name into people's mouths.
Yeah, at least some acknowledgement, right? I mean, they're our best performing Ascension team by a long shot. And guess what? I mean, it was a world in which they weren't even here.
I know.
As the Ascension team, by the way. And yeah, I mean, luckily dodged that pathway.
Yeah, thankfully. Community protests came through.
Yeah.
There's also a world where it's actually John QT not playing on Sentinels and him playing as the Ascension representative in this league. So you had that battle all year last time going through. And here we get to see it again on the Americas stage.
At some point, we'll diagnose what the issue is. I might have to get up there on the stage and start fiddling with some cables.
I saw a little Zelsis playing with his headphones.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
In-ear problem?
Could be.
I mean, they all seem quite locked in. I'm waiting for the game to start.
I mean,
they're locking in now.
Yeah,
look at that.
The lean forward indicates that this
they're not sleeping. They're not lying back in the chairs.
Maybe getting resolved quite shortly. I'm so looking forward to the battle of the IGLs over the course of this game. There's going to be explosiveness, but when you're looking at the maps that we have, especially on Lotus, I think, which is Sen's map pick, watching John QT go up against Valyn, it's going to be a fun one.
Did he just get his chair stuck? Chair stuck.
I don't know. I don't know. Was that what a tech pause was from?
I don't know.
Wait. Cable's being swapped.
Okay.
That's a good sign. Thankfully, Brent, you don't have to go do it.
I don't have to go do it.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to do it, but I would have done it. Probably would have been stuck here another 30 minutes if I was handling any sort of tech problems.
Guys, did you watch anything this morning? Any big sports game?
Don't even start.
I kind of have to. I'm sandwiched between two Brits.
Don't start. I don't want to talk about it, to be honest. I genuinely don't want to talk about it. I'm the crestfallen warrior right now.
Okay.
Sat around filing shrine, just like and ahhing. I mean, yeah.
We're not at the finals here of VCT just yet, but
no.
You know, I hope your favorite team doesn't lose. I hope you avoid my pain.
Okay.
I think another really interesting difference between these two squads, though, despite the fact that they've had so much success, is that we are seeing a Sentinels that have not dropped a map in Stage 2. Since they had that break where they didn't make it to Shanghai, they've been immaculate. There's not been a flaw in their record. Whereas G2's ascendancy has had very notable blowout losses. Even when they were having that run through Shanghai, they would lose a map in startling fashion, and they've repeated the same thing back here in Americas, and yet they still find a way of being able to patch that up and get back into things. So don't feel like they're out of the game if they end up winning the pistol round and then losing it all on Byte, and it's 13-1 like you just saw. I mean, if that loud victory in the previous match has taught you anything, it's that you can't just go based off the results of one map in the series.
Well, as we're waiting for Zelsis to get locked back in again with the headset and everything else, we did speak with Valyn earlier about G2 slow starts, exactly what we were kind of discussing just now in 2024.
It's no surprise that we start slow a lot of these matches. I would say our previous game versus NRG, we actually flipped that and we started hot and we thought we had it fixed. We have team talks about just trying to play tighter from the get-go. I think we're a team that is pretty mentally confident, and maybe that's kind of a double-edged sword for us because we're playing like too loose and too calm. I kind of want to up the intensity a bit because that's when I know we're hitting flow state and playing to our best.
It definitely been, you know, those slow starters. It's interesting to see, you know, Valyn talking about their attitude in games that are too loose. I feel like that can be a negative, but he's talking about it, you know, they're not necessarily locked in at all times, can't get into the flow state.
Yeah. I think that's Valyn's identity in general.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the most chill dude to call and everything as well. He just takes it easy and gets locked in, like you talked about, trying to find that flow state. And this is going to interrupt it, I'm just going to say. After winning the pistol.
Yeah, at the same time, though, in some sense, it's like the best spot to have a tech pause like this.
For sure.
Because when you come into the next round, you just have such overwhelming advantage in terms of the weaponry that you don't, you know, it can get you back into the game fairly quickly, I think. It would be amazing to see Sen pull out their classic Sen bundle win on the eco. But I think G2 should be fairly solid here to get back into the rhythm of the game once we get these dastardly audio situations.
It's amazing in VCT as well that we have the ability to just stop the clock and pause it when there's, you know, extra time needed and it doesn't just end abruptly.
Salty England fan again.
Crazy. You know, well, I mean, listen, 4 minutes of extra time apparently means 30 seconds in the eyes of some.
The Spanish need that siesta. I'm just saying.
When,
get back to it.
They won't be sleeping anytime soon.
When Sadak lost the first map 13-1 earlier today, I thought he was trying to get out and watch the Argentina game.
Hey, we're back to it.
Let's
okay. And all that lead up just for the anti-eco, but listen, we're back into the match. That's what matters.
Look at this challenge from Icy. He's got that outlaw, and he's got 5 players going at him.
Yeah, this real possibility for him to just farm up a really critical ultimate. Gonna be a flash in his face. Grab was already committed to. Icy giving up a bit of that space as well. He's hearing all that pressure. Grab the orb. Full rotation, marathon sprint to the other direction. Leaving Sassy posted here though, maybe giving him some extra options a little bit later.
I mean, this very much looks like they're just going to try to farm orbs in this round.
That's an early Trailblazer from Jonah P down B long. After spotting and hearing so much from Icy, maybe they didn't get the information that I think, but there was no time for them to be down at Fountain.
Right here.
Jonah P just jiggling the corner here. There's really very little danger of him even getting punished. I think the classics on the other side of things. We'll give it up as soon as the smoke. Prop down, forced out the molly, defensive util. Just trying to make it expensive.
Not how Sentinels, though, weren't actually able to take B long control in this round, and that's because Leafs put his Viper orb over there. Now, that is going to be a very large difference between the way that these two teams function.
left.
Because Sen are running the deadlock. So, having that Viper orb in certain spots around the map, normally B long or on the A default, that's something Sen do not have access to at all.
They hit the go button. Gonna try and get this plant down onto the side as well. Trent will attempt to play spoiler, any sort of denial that he can do, but he's still gonna plant down, so extension forwards, plenty of bodies running straight towards him.
One enemy remaining.
Building up those ults as well, but clinical stuff from G2.
Very quick and backside there too with the stinger. Very well done. Only one player fell, so flawless anti-eco, I would say.
The whole round, however, for Sentinels was designed around getting TenZ his ult online, or at least as close as possible, so that could be a win condition for you as you approach. And Trent, you can see in this replay right there, started the round with only one of those ult orbs. So he's miles away on the Thrash, and the Thrash is normally the first one that gets online. TenZ only needs one orb, and they have a huge ult to work with.
I am concerned with the fact that they didn't go through that orb that you're talking about, that Leaf put down on B-Long. Is this another one?
There's no way. What is it? What's the indicator?
The reason I say that is because they don't have as many flash utils as they used to have, right? And so they're scared potentially to pop through something like that when they need to because of how this comp is designed. That grab net going over to deny somebody in Octagon to push them back, take that orb sort of thing. On the eco, you don't have the tools, but we'll leave that for another time.
The point I wanted to make was not important, but what did 100 Thieves and Loud do to these fellows? What are they doing a match before this, man? I mean, this is crazy.
100 Thieves are thinking, well, we have no further ability to alter the seeds. Perhaps we shall sabotage the two teams. Yeah. Now, I've heard of taking a game a round at a time, but I don't know about this one. Pause after the bonus as well.
Yeah.
Reassess. It's a good job we got 3 of us up here.
That's what I mean. Dude, I don't know. If it was just me and you, Josh, I would have given up. I would have handed it off to you, I think. Listen, we've got even more footage as well. We sorted out this problem earlier. We asked G2's Valyn as well how he stacks up against the rest of the league's IGL. Take a listen.
I want to be known as one of the best. Maybe my time is not right now, and that's totally okay. I don't have a grudge on people or anything. I understand I have to build my way up. It's just my first year here. I would like to safely rank myself amongst the top 3, at least. Obviously, you got to give credit to people like Sadhak, and FNS came back. He's always been known as a top IGL. But hopefully, if I can continue to win, maybe even lift an international trophy like John QT did, then maybe I'll be ranked above him one day.
That's respect for John Cutie, and I appreciate that. It's also John's first year at the Tier 1 level. But for Valyn, something about that seems overly humble. Because, again, in the wise words of G2's theme song, he can't be called a newcomer. He's been up for several summers. So he's been around. Okay. He's been around for years, though.
Okay,
he's already been to an international event as the #1 seed coming out of North America. And yes, they didn't perform amazingly at that event, but he's had that experience. He's won through Ascension. This is one of the most long-standing cores that we currently have in Valorant. So the idea that he still needs to earn his flowers, I respect that as a mentality, but I actually think that he's a proven excellent caller who deserves the respect that he's earned over the last few years.
Yeah, I think he's comparing himself to the likes of Sadhak, like you mentioned. He mentioned John QT. I think he might be a little jealous over there. The Ascension compatriot. But I think he's comparing himself to the greats, and that's where he wants to end up. Like you said, getting a trophy. And I think this team could absolutely do it after what we saw in Shanghai. This team has experience now. They've seen how it feels like to get top 3 at an international event. I absolutely believe that Valyn could take them there.
They did also only lose to the finalists, so it wasn't like a lucky run to make top 3. And they'd beaten Heretics multiple times earlier on in the tournament. It's going to be so interesting once we know all of the teams from all of the regions that are going to champs.
It's going to be so exciting, man.
We can see, what seed does Gen.G, for example, or Heretics get if they're, going to be there, which it seems extraordinarily likely.
Once it all shakes out.
Exactly.
Basically just a week when we find out. And then, what is it, like a week later? We're
crazy.
Barely any time at all.
Yeah.
Barely any time.
And that's good. That could be good for some of these teams, especially the momentum-based ones. Maybe Sentinels you could maybe add to that category, given the fact that Kickoff run that they went on into Madrid. But momentum can mean a lot when it comes to Champions runs. I think of EG last year, for example, the run out of Tokyo into Champions. I actually think that some of these teams have pretty similar characteristics to that EG team, both 100 Thieves and G2, I would say.
When you're fiddling with the Windows control panel, you know you're cooked. That's all I know. You know you are cooked. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna be waiting a bit until this issue has fixed, but hopefully back into the action soon enough. And I believe I've got permission to send us to a break. If I don't, it's gonna be awkward. welcome back. I mean, I'll be brutally honest here. Don't have fantastic news for you. We're not jumping straight back into the action. Apparently, there's literally ghosts in the machines or something. Because they said that the sound issues they're coming from the game itself. You know, they've swapped out hardware, they're trying it all. So who knows what the problem is? I wouldn't be able to solve it. I know that much.
That is the side 100 Thieves is on. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
While we get that fixed, we can continue our conversations about all sorts of esoteric topics.
Yeah. Greek philosophy.
Yeah, don't go
That's
down
a
that
classic
rabbit.
one for you guys, huh?
It really is. Don't
It
go
was
down that
mythology,
rabbit.
actually.
Oh, mythology.
Classic, yeah, but I didn't know anything. So.
No. But I think one of the interesting topics to talk about is one that you were mentioning earlier, Bren, when we were discussing about this, is that Sentinels started their year in Korea. They won a big off-season tournament, the Africa TV tournament, that kind of showcased that they were taking the off-season super seriously.
And it has paid dividends, I think, for the Sentinels org. I mean, they came straight out of the off-season, essentially try-harding every single major tournament. Won the Africa tournament in Korea. Now they have a chance in this match here of potentially earning that, that final chapter to close it in Korea, right? If they end up winning this, they will be guaranteed to go to champs. It looks highly likely even outside of that, but you never know with Valorant. It's a random game sometimes. So you just never know. You never know, really, entirely. But it would be nice for this Sentinels org, I think, to be able to close that chapter of 2024, which they started even just before in the off-season. But they came out of the gates headstrong, looking for those wins. And they got them, and they, I think, proved themselves in Madrid. They had that slump in the middle, but it's all about how you stick the landing. That's what people remember.
Yeah, and that was such a grind. And you've seen every player on this team, I think, grow so much. I think especially for me, the guy that sticks out when I'm thinking about changes in terms of player performance and player flexibility, I look at TenZ, man. This guy has reinvigorated himself so much this year. And I think it's because of that grind and the amount of time that they've spent playing against fantastic teams and making big runs.
Yeah, we're seeing him on a range of things. I mean, he's now playing the Gecko on Bind as well. He's playing the Smokes. He's playing the... he's taking a move away from the blue agents to pick up Gecko.
Great news. Here we go. We are back into the match. I said that before.
No, but this time I believe you.
This time you believe me? Okay, sure. Let's get into it. It's a bonus round here for G2. Guns online for Sentinels. Got to try and convert. Stop this momentum.
God, they're playing like their opponents right now. This is crazy. Yeah. All 3 rounds, other than the eco, where they ran in the bathroom and then ran away.
Momentum might have been the wrong word to use.
One of the really funny things about this as well is that G2 are just looking to play off noise. If you look at these players up here in spawn, the 2 initiators, they are playing rotate positions, waiting to follow the noise of the attackers. There is no noise.
They've got their knives out, just sitting there.
That's their own smoke drop down to split up Hookah. Boombot as well to take control of it.
And that does pull those 2 players we were mentioning over towards that B side, but Sentinels is not looking to commit at all. Finally going to pick up the spike with a minute left. That's the timing there. And remember, John QT still has all of his util for the execute. For these 2 players on this site, it's going to be difficult to hold on.
Unfortunate timing, the smoke in their faces, but Sentinel not going to be discouraged. Sending out a Dizzy, that's 3 aims. Making sure that he deals with that one. Nade rebounding. Here in the wingman going forward. Somali as well. Ricocheting straight up, and that will be denying the plan, at least for the first wave of things here. Still 28 seconds. Got to get a move on. A fight now into Shower. Sassy. He's got to lock down and hold down this spot and position. His team is going to be counting on him to have control of this area. Might be calling for the backup and reinforcements, but Trent is just making this tricky business to try and clear him out entirely, and he's going to get back up in the south. It's another TP. Dizzy dealt with and shot down as well with G2. They're flooding them, swarming them, the positions. Doesn't matter about this subpar weaponry. Ult in the face to Tate. Both of them. Star-crossed lovers, what the hell can you do? But a fight on the side is all that matters. It's Valyn sticking. Safety in numbers, no chance to send there. What are we watching?
What a round to come back in from.
Backyard
A soft chuckle from Jonah P on that side is the only indication you would get as to the madness that we just saw from G2. I'm wondering what happened to the Thrash on the other side, though.
Yeah.
TenZ got that one up. He used it in a default position. Didn't find any value from it.
But this is just ridiculous. I mean, they're trying desperately
Oh, that's funny.
to take him down and regain control of Showers so they can play that post plan.
We're straight back into this one here. Setup fully grouped up like they want to go hard and fast here towards this A site. All but ready with a util. It's a nade. Doesn't quite catch on to Icy. He's going to be hiding, tucking himself into this smoke. So he's going to play spoiler if he can. Weaker weaponry again in the hands of these Sentinels players, but they are being swarmed, still haven't cleared. Icy just peek his head over there. Tap from Zelsis, pushed back by the mosh pit. The smoke fades away! Got the satchel to disengage.
Super odd moment there. He's stuck in front of the wall while his teammates behind it.
G2 looking to increase that tempo though. Keep being turned up. They're trying to flood their way back in, spamming into the corners. They are worried about these positions. The spot seekers have to be used. Judge shot goes off. That's rattled. That does put fear into you. Strikes it deep into the heart. G2 want nothing to do with Lamps. Going to be going over the out to extremities here of this side of the side as well. Wingman onto the plant. That's going to be denied as well, but still the feed is built up with entirely green G2. They're dominating this one. John QT is the last one left. John QT. Annihilation. It's on. The time is bought. And he's just waiting for the sound cue. But it's given up. John QT realizing it. That's a win in his books. And a round on the board for Sentinels.
Just unbelievable. All the kills going in G2's favor until John swings wildly for 2 headshots. And we talked about the ult Torbs a lot. He wasn't even collecting them. And he gets the perfect one in the perfect moment.
What crazy value in the post plant there from his ult as well. Zelsis, he's one away from having an orbital strike. This composition has big post plant power. Compare that to the Viper. You couldn't pit in a situation like that and win a 1v3. Had to be the rifle and the annihilation.
Whoops.
Whoopsie. Big miss.
Can't pick that up anymore.
Exactly. No second go around, but it won't matter anyway. Sentinels once more running the same playbook. Straight into the A side as well, clearing out most of these players here. There's a lot of util to try and push them back and away. Lamps control is going to be vitally important. You can see them looking to fight this. 3 players side by side, shoulder to shoulder. G2 not giving this one up, but still can they maintain their composure against the rifle fire? Yes, they can. Rocket earned and sent. And John QT is dropped. Sassy. It's the last one left here. He's got to do it with a bulldog in hand, but not able to put up a fight, not against Icy.
Very different idea from G2 on this defensive side. Usually it's just been Icy and Valyn holding onto the A site. They throw in all of their utility to deny the plant. This round they allow Sen the plant, but then they're much quicker with contesting areas, especially Lamps, where we saw them fight with 3 people. So G2 mixing it up, making Sen feel like it's going to be their standard denial of plant. And instead, the fight was brought into Zelsis and second really quickly.
And we heard Valyn talk about slow starts and how they're working on getting rid of that sort of idea. But here they are, making great adaptations. Every time Sen has gone for this hit, they put that wall down into spawn. This time they have 3 people in front of the wall ready to fight Lamps.
Sen conditioned in the very beginning of this game, extraordinarily slow defaulting. And now they're just kind of sending it into A.
Launching smoke.
Over and over again, why not? Run it back once more, this time on the full eco. But the plant, util maybe going a little bit of miss there. No, just denying them the possibility of getting that plant down as well. Trent still holding down control. Ult looking to be committed. Valyn, orbital strike in his hands. Doesn't go for it though. There's danger in this round with Zekken earning up his own rocket. Zelsis also with the orbital strike. How does this get played? Where's that one getting used? Push it back into Lamps. Only the one. Sassy's going to be cleared out. Peace of mind at least. Jonah P trying to wrap this one around still. Like I said, there is still that danger in the round itself. Valyn, attack, trying to force it out. Jonah P gets spotted as well. Across the map, it's a volley. It's going to be landing once more, not half onto this spike. Time being bled straight off this clock. Jonah P still needs to land a few of these shots. Celsius holding it with the ult, still choosing to commit it. Apparently feeling like this one is potentially winnable, but they've just been cleaned up.
There's no
time, though. There's no time. It's ticked away.
Took them so long to be able to get that push-up short on the retake. Very, very different. You remember how long they were just stood in backside, thinking about whether or not to deny the plant. Valyn holding off on using that orbital strike. Went for it, took him way too long, especially when Zelsis had the ult online on the other side.
Yeah, but sensing the danger of this round, and it ends up materializing. I think that flank from G2 was almost perfect. But the timing wasn't enough for him to get all the way up and get a couple kills. But you see Sentinels just turn around and get one peek at it. And all of a sudden, you've got time. They're going to go fast up short here, look for a kill. And TenZ has the op out of nowhere!
Yeah, okay. This guy's doing his something cosplay.
What's bonkers about that as well is, this is the first time that Icy has ever taken a peek up into that cubby area in this map.
Yeah, a proactive clear on the defensive side for G2, immediate punish. I was fully ready to talk, consolation prizes for G2 today. Maybe pulled the showstopper out of Sentinels. Despite losing that round in that fashion, but right back at it. They're in a driving seat.
And one of the other problems being that TenZ now has the Thrash available again. Yes, last time he didn't get much value out of it. It was Trent that actually had that wild situation outside Showers. But here, full clear of Hookah, clear into sight. The ult's magnificent on Bind.
That gets so deep. And you can see they slow things down so that you actually don't know what's going on if you're G2 right now.
Just enough of a pause as well. Rotations are finally arriving here. Lee, straight shots. Nothing quite landing. The barrier mesh in his face. A lot of utils going to be committed. Expended out here to try and push these players out of the spot. But again, JohnQT not to be removed. And again, this wall is just causing too many problems. Round 2. So Thrash being used on equal size, I think, is going to be sending it flying. Entertainment, at least catching a 1, but still holding it down. Zenken perched up on high, delivering, raining down at death blows, need to follow through.
I think this is one of those situations where you really see the value of that deadlock wall as well. When they go for the A exec, JohnQT's throwing it into backside where you can just break it easily from that pipe spawn area. Whereas here, you have to be exposing yourself in elbow in order to break that wall. That's a really dangerous thing for G2 to go for. Not only does it delay them, but it might set them up for a death.
Especially when TenZ begins to op as well. You just drop a smoke, let it expire, and all of a sudden you're getting that angle while they're breaking the wall. You're so right. It's so interesting to see as well the dueling Thrashes. We've had him. Both times they've been active.
Initiator opping on both sides.
Yeah. Just trying to spot each other out. It's all about who has the better reaction. The Celsius! He takes one to the chest.
And not a single smoke used by Celsius either, so that's a huge first pick coming out of Jonah P.
It's got to be a wake-up call for Sentinels. No smokes now to use on their own. Might have to just opt into a lot of contacting.
But TenZ in the roll. See what he can do. Nobody's showing themselves at all. And Jonah P's rotated here.
Yes, a shot. The whistle's passed. TenZ will finally land it. Still no control though. Out towards over into last. A mosh pit. All on top. The grab there. No time to go. They just don't receive it on towards the back end. Sassy trying to wrap it around. This complete that pincer maneuver, and they do clean up these players. Wall finally dropped down with the barrier mesh. Another obstacle is going to be
there's space there.
Difficult.
There's space there. They don't know.
Oh, he's wiggled his way right past, yet still TenZ will collect.
These last few rounds have been so important for Sen to get back into this game. G2 looked like they were in control. The retake ideas were excellent from them. And now Sen are working the map a bit more and putting themselves in favored post-plant positions.
Jeez.
He does show a lot of his body there, but he's not expecting Jonah P to be on such a wide angle. But it's this play into lamps that crunch almost failed, as Zekken was too slow to follow up on the grab net mosh. But Sen pile more players in and get the value from it in the end.
And this op from TenZ has been getting incredible value.
Grab net already with the value to Prowler as well. With a little bit of spam and a few bullets might do it. Sees all in. There's no way, man. There's absolutely no chance. And still, the fight continues. They've wrapped these Showers players around with Icy being dropped as well. Falls down into the open. Look at the issues. Celsius. This guy.
It wasn't audio issues. There were no audio issues. He was installing cheats.
What they put in those in-ears.
Yeah. A week by G2 will see very little value. Sen in full control now of this map. It feels like it's just shifted over.
One enemy remaining.
And
John gets another.
Yeah, I mean, hunting out the remnants.
Annihilation online. 2 away from Orbital Strike and Nightfall. Close even to the Showstopper and the Thrash coming online. Sen are in a spot now that is desperately dangerous for G2. Not only do they need wins for their economy, but they need to be able to draw out ultimates from Sen and still survive and be putting rounds on the board.
Yeah, talk about a snowball at the end of the half. And you remember the round that started this all. With that post plant that Sentinels plays to perfection with the mollies. You thought G2 had everything covered in that situation. Some of those early rounds that Sentinels won, both of them, I thought G2 got the better of them.
John Cutie with the 1v3 in one of them. Absolutely. It took heroics and individual performance to get them into that point, but then from there, they found a really nice adaptation to what G2 were playing.
The same is going to be asked of G2 as well. Purpose of the timeout probably as well. A lot of these A hits just largely being exploited by Sen. Spotting it out. I mean, this comp has an incredible amount of tools. If you're going to overwhelm a site, I mean, we've been looking at the way they've been using the deadlock, the GravNet in combination with anything. It's just instant access to showers, lamps, whatever you choose, essentially, if you're Sentinels. G2 are finding it a real struggle.
This comp has the deepest of bags. I mean, you saw it there as well. We've been seeing a lot of AXX, but here, the amount of roots that are going into showers just allows that wraparound so freely.
Previously, we saw Tens fighting against Jonah P on that B-long angle with the AWP. And now, Tens looking to try to contest it, by the look of things, on his own. Seeing if he can find a punish onto an initiator jiggle peeking. But at the moment, holding really passively. It would be dangerous for Tens to step out on an aggressive line, because he's almost always going to have the spike as well as the Gecko player.
And previously in the past, they've used the Thrash to clear out Hookah. This time, maybe use the Boombot and the Flash.
Launching smoke.
Setting up for a smoke to actually go ahead and do that. And they will get the information. G2 has almost never played inside of Hookah so far this game.
Just throws that uncertainty into the back of the minds of the G2 players. They are going to be attempting, I believe, a reclear. You can see Trent kind of posturing for it. Trailblazer straight down. Going for the peek. This is going to give them information, but honestly, a little bit too late. Sentinels have already fully grouped up now, going for this A hit. At least looks like it's on the cards.
Remember though, Molly here, Nade, and Icy's ult. They can delay plant for a long time to buy time for those rotates.
That might be an issue for them as well. Seeing it come through with a satchel as a showstopper! Rebounding it around! Annihilation not sure if there is that connection still. Valyn, he's rapid onto it. Approaches the angle, backs away now, buying time and space for the rest of his team. The fast onto the flank themselves. 2 players wrapping this one. Sentinels need to stick this extension into the play. Tens at least aware of the fact that he could have missed this chance and opportunity, and the timing, it's gone past and beneath him. Flash into their faces, just about dodged. Nobody has given him an inch, and there's the wraparound. Finally, the backstab occurring. Celsius has to put a stop to this, considering using the util as well, but he won't be saving it for the post plant. And again, that discipline on display. G2 not giving anything away, fully grouped up, making sure that they can face all of these fights together. Util points it out and paints that picture out perfectly.
One of the big things that I'm noticing here is that G2, their defense surrounding Valyn and Icy is all about plant denial. And Sen are trying to find these timings to punish them as they go for the molly. You saw the little bank shot molly off the wall of lamps there. And immediately, Zeken's looking for the punish. He's trying to go aggressive in the backside. He knows he has the space. He's trying to catch the timing on Valyn while he's thinking about spike denial. But he's missing it. And that to me, is how all of these A fights are going down. Can Sen get the jump on them when they've got other things in their mind?
Yeah, you have to say, Zeken losing that fight multiple times now to Valyn in that exact position as well. Speaking to potentially how he's playing overall in this. And I also have to point out, every round that Sentinels has started in the G2 fashion, super slow, not taking control of anything, has actually led to G2 wins.
Well, here's an exec line up over the top. Trailblazer at least the connection, but the disease was not dealt with. Trent's still going to be repositioning. Does have that safety, at least it's an anchoring smoke for him to play around. Both of them propped up. The wall has been drawn, a line in the sand still. Zeken, of course, he's going to step over it. He's eager to draw blood.
Got his ult from that one as well.
He's cleared out most of it. 2 players now going to be wrapping this one Out through. There's the TP also coming out. Away! And reset of the aim just enough here. Thrash has to connect. Over the strike to punish as well. Showstopper in the hands of Second. It's anarchy occurring into the server. Orbital Strike somehow getting the kill, and Second did not know which way to look. 2v3. Tumultuous here for Sentinels. Single kill could do it though. Tension's trying to stay alive. Drop down, Icy. So fast onto the line. Celsius now. It's the last one left. Bit of spam maybe, but that might be some false confidence. Potentially thinks that he got that one. Leaf gonna be sticking it. Bodyguarded all the way. And a round lead now. Just for G2.
Yeah, he can't see that the smoke is down while that wall is up either, so he doesn't actually know that they have protection to continue sticking in a situation like that.
I said that G2 not only needed to be able to win rounds for their economy, but they needed to be able to dodge ults coming out of Sen. They got so many online during this round. The plant got the Thrash as well. Showstopper found no value. Thrash couldn't be followed up on. John and Celsius also without their ults now. G2 just not only managed to dodge all of these ults, but put the round on the board in convincing fashion.
It almost feels like Sentinels doesn't know what to do when G2 doesn't respond after they take the site. There's such terrible trepidation in the way that they're approaching these post-plant situations, causing Zekin to be confused, Tens to be confused. And I have to say, it's probably because of the new comp.
A little bit of hesitancy, waiting for that next response out of G2, but hey, don't ever give it to you. They're always going to play disciplined. Try to group up, stretch the time to the limit, even if they're the ones who are trying to play for that retake here. This is a very large group of the G2. They're going for a flash. In through, getting that connection. Gramnet is going to be sailing right over. They're going to be able to take this one in time. At a nightfall, it scatters. It's a good connection, at least onto the three. Dizzy over the top. You got to pick and choose your targets quite carefully. Right from the side, it's Second. He will respond in kind. Out wide, snappy, almost magnetic. He makes it look easy. Difficult spot that G2 are pushed into. Valyn, not expecting it. Second, so damn active onto these angles. One more from the ace. Prowler spots it. Nade sent flying. Bit of a handshake in the air from it. See. Got to make a go of this. Out through and White shuts him down. No ace in sight yet. Still, surely time has been bought. And off of that one, noise contact, sensor tripped up. 6-6 is where we stand.
Switching
An
sides.
even half for two teams that went back and forth the entire time. It felt like G2 had great reads at the beginning and got a really important couple towards the end. But Sen also with massive moments in this one as well. Second powers forward, showcasing what he's capable of doing.
Perfect Zekin satchel flash combination to get that Dizzy value. What a seesaw of a half.
Absolutely. We're going to send it to a short break on the other side. Of course, the rest of this map.
And what a way to start off this series between G2 and Sentinels. Great ideas, great executes, basically everything you could possibly ask for the last match to close off the regular season. But let's go ahead, though, first and talk about what we've been seeing out of the Sentinels camp, because I've really been enjoying, stop causing problems over there, you two. I've been really enjoying this deadlock. We've been seeing some really cool ideas with it. And overall, I mean, John, he's just been absolutely lights out with it as well on those occasions.
I think he was very effective in this 1v3 in particular. He gets it down to the 1v1 and then is able to buy time, right? Like his utility usage in the clutch moments just exists, but then even in how they're approaching the side hits and what they're doing in post plants too has been really nice.
Yeah, it really was. But I think G2 later in this half started to find a good adaptation. This is another example of some of the good rounds for Sentinels. You're seeing all of these lineup mollies in combination, and this is where G2 started to get it. You see them trying to commit into a flank, apply some pressure on these players, playing that post plant utility. It didn't work out in this round, but in the next few, they started to really commit into those flanks, and also I think doing a much better job of using their util to stall out those plants and not allow that deadlock to get set up. There's that careful balance about being too proactive and getting caught out while you're trying to flood retake in the deadlock util, and also in ending up getting kind of owned by it on the other side. But they found it, and it's a damn close game.
We saw some great adaptations by G2, but now we're going to be flipping the sides and send it back over to the casters.
That's a quick back into it here. It's a pistol round up and coming here for the second half of Bind. And immediately top of the scoreboard for both of these teams. It's the Duelist players, the Raze players going head to head. Icy currently the advantage in that regard.
It's been such a good battle between those two, Zekin and Icy. I mean, you saw it at the beginning of the half. Icy, even on pistol, doing everything correctly. And Zekin struggling a little bit. But then at the end of the half as well, even in that last round, you see the satchels from Zekin, the spray downs. It's back to magic.
It feels like G2 are baiting V-Long control here to try to get TenZ to push out.
Throwing nets.
Does he have that discipline?
Just holding it, slightest of off angles. A lot of players to face him though. You know G2, whenever they make a play, always going to be doing it with the numbers advantage.
Well, that wasn't a mistake from TenZ, but he just lost the 1v2.
And there's a fast play from Sentinels themselves. Nades again sailing past one another. Just trying to fight for this one. Control. It's not being given up entirely here to Sentinels. Still with that showers fight. Taken leave. One shot to the body. Brings him down, all weakened up here, but it's an open B site for the taking. G2 happy to capitalize.
They might have to triple TP. They don't have time anymore to actually rotate through spawn, but they'll go for it. And that gives so much room for G2 to get anywhere they want. And they have to take time to even clear this round. Unfortunately, Sentinels overcommitting through that TP.
They thought they had the read on what was going on, right? They thought it was bait over towards B long, finish A, and Valyn adds an extra loop, an extra wrinkle.
Get him, wingman.
Trent just pulling the util out of them here. Sentinels really struggling, just trying to take the time straight past that one with the Dizzy. There's a molly at their feet. G2 lighting them all up.
Attack side calling is going to be so fun to follow for both of these IGLs. Battling through Ascension, battling against various other teams all throughout this year in Tier 1. I feel like at the moment we are seeing peak Valyn. Not in this match just yet, we haven't seen him, it's only been one round. But throughout Stage 2, throughout Shanghai, he's been calling some magnificent attack sides.
And playing fantastic too. This guy has been absolutely dominant.
He's 12-6 now. Probably
one of the best fragging IGLs we've had.
Yeah.
All year.
Exactly what this series is. Another part of the stakes though just being laid up on top of this one. There's no way Zekin's just getting out. I mean, defended.
That's crazy.
Leaf dropped. He was the one with a pistol. Celsius tucked up, close, just trying to play the anti-flash position, but the protocols in place here for G2 should be an easy take for that B site.
So one of the weird rounds actually, where they were on the 4-1 on the round after the pistol, the one player doesn't find the stack, dies, but they decide to commit into the stack anyway. They knew there were 3 players over towards B, they just thought brute force it, and they worked.
Go get him, buddy.
Be hoping to collect up any eco kills, generate a few of these ults. Bit far away from it, G2. Okay.
I'm sorry, there's something special about the way G2 is shooting today. They've been playing so well all year, but this is Sentinels we're talking about, and some of these I'm just like, okay, what?
If G2 are firing on the same level that Sen traditionally do, then I think G2's team play has looked a little better recently. I think Valyn's calling has looked slightly better than John Cudy's yesterday. We're talking a game of inches between these two squads, because they're both fantastic.
Now, this is the first time we really get to see that tested super hard. Sentinels didn't get the chance in Stage 1 in playoffs. where G2 gained their form. So to see it actually play out and validate some of the feelings in the community. It's a big hunt from Saucy. But G2 plays so slow that it's not really going to mean much down the line.
Gonna quickly take up control of Showers, though.
Okay.
Not as much pace as you're going to see out of G2, outside of when they just go for those full execs.
Because we've got a little bit of a slower round here, take a look at John Cuty's setup. He's got a stun here for them to fight over B long. And he's also got the stun if anyone makes a non-silent drop out of hookah. So their deadlock can be very good in these kind of spots over towards B on Bind.
And this is the portion of time right now where Sentinels can take massive advantage of the information they're gathering. Saucy just prowlered into Showers. You saw G2 have one of these types of rounds where they dog down B-Long, saw nothing, and flanked really fast. But Sentinels not doing anything with that information.
Well, he's spawning too much here, Trailblazer needs to be broken, grabbing it in response to it, but they're going to be squeezed. Barrier mesh, hello, that makes things very damn awkward. Straight in through, onto the side as well. They are just overwhelming it, brute force. Name of the game here for G2, still with a plant online. And the reinforcements of Sentinels.
Thanks, Wings.
Just lacking that time in for now. Now grouped up and catching this one still. It's bullets to the side, traded. I see there, making sure to shut down Zekken. 2v3 still for Sentinels, and they do have a slight weapon advantage, but only slight. Still getting a bit of a move on a run-up. Trent is happy to just play the close quarters angle.
What a bonus round for G2 to get online. The game plan worked for Sen. I pointed out the deadlock setup. Both of the stuns ended up going off. The stun for the people out hookah, that ended up being rewarded. The stun towards B-Long, they didn't have enough people there to be able to capitalize. It goes back to what Marla was saying. They kind of missed the window to get the rotate off. Zekken was booking his way over towards B, but he was too slow. They had made that rotation off the back of the information. With 3 people on site, they could have held that. But G2 bulldozed their way through B long.
And those are the positions that you really want that deadlock to have some value. You want to be peeking on the stuns. You want to be peeking on some of the stuff that you're getting value off of, not just for information. I mean, it's so limited. Someone get that poor man a jersey.
Or at least a pen so he can make his own.
Brent, pass him yours, bro.
I don't think my pen will be good enough.
Wow, that
was a big banner. Unfortunate for the people behind it, but not be seeing too much. Sentinels have really got to make a course adjustment.
It's okay. There's surely no clout farmers in the audience.
No.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not there, so.
This is rough stuff for Sen. It's G2's map pick on Bind. We've seen them look fantastic on this map before. But it's also one where Sentinels, if you think way back, had a great answer on this map with TenZ playing the Yoru, like, really, really early on. And now they've been rotating through different compositions. And this one, if the deadlock isn't getting value over towards B, even when both stuns are connecting and everything looks good, there's more fundamental issues, perhaps, that need to be addressed before it can be considered a phenomenal map to rely on and lean on in big games.
Triple swing instantly pushes Saucy off. And look at this, the high-low that the sort of stuff you were talking about on defense. And Saucy never really re-peeks this. He has the 2 prowlers, probably won't use them on the eco.
This is gross. I mean, you have a triple high-low setup with someone holding for the jump peak as well. Look at the crosshair placement.
Yeah.
Saucy
looking like Ocean's 11 out there, man.
There's no way. No way he could peek into that.
There's just no chance. And this is standard stuff, really, from G2.
And I also think that Saucy isn't the intended target here. It's an anti based on how aggressively TenZ likes to play in Showers on the defense side. Now, TenZ has actually been quite disciplined. He did get caught out on the pistol round, but it wasn't because he overstepped himself. G2 eventually had to force the fight, as they're having to do now. Sen are not giving them free ones.
They're looking to try and send this one up straight to A. That's a late flank occurring.
Grenade!
Too short. The point of that one is still with the nade. Teleport to the nade. TP, yep, straight back and over.
Yeah, but they didn't actually leave.
Through into B. They didn't leave themselves. Sean Q2, a bit of a scramble from him. Offloading this utility, seeking some sort of advantage into the fight as well. Up and over, that was accidental.
Second opted
right through him, and yeah, Rocket does find that value. Plant still down, though. That was not pushed back. Leaf. He's going to be able to play this one into the post. Him and Jonah P. Drops down the orb just for him to reposition. He's out and away. Tiniest of margins. It drops down.
That's the gun.
Still wingman onto the defuse as well. Needs to be denied. Mosh pit into the corner. Where do you stand? There's nowhere. Just tickling onto the toes as well. Gives Tens the easy one. Jonah P now. 1v2. Damage done. We can target. Tens have got a rifle. 1v1 still. No tap, no forcing of the issue. Dizzy has to be hit. Jonah P! Complete control. The rifle aim was wrangling control of it.
That was Sentinels' way back into this game. They were offered an opportunity just then to have a round that upset everything, all of the expectations. A weird pivot, and I mean, Icy just falls straight into their lap there. But they couldn't quite get it done in the 1v1.
One enemy remaining.
So now a 4-round deficit for Sen that they've got to grind back through. Can't be letting opportunities like that slip, I think, in spots like this.
Wasn't eco, and they did use an ult, but still, the cycle favors them. They've got the Thrash, they've got the orbital strike from Zelsis.
Sliders of Jiggles might see the punish. There is a lot of G2 players all grouped up on the other side of this. Just sees it, signs of life, so another grab there. About it, Trent's gonna cover.
He actually pushed his teammate into an angle where Trent could have died there if there was another Sentinels player.
The deadlock utility's buying time for Zekken to rotate, but G2 have not committed off the back of this. If they dodge this Prowler, they've got a great timing to end A.
He talked about mid-rounding so much. Here it is on display again. How many times have we seen a late pivot?
Yeah, Valyn's just working him into a pretzel right now with a lot of this calling because there's no bodies to even watch this one. Yep, no Thrash going to be committed either. Let's try and get themselves in. We'll be having that one for the post plant. That's even if they can get themselves into it. Orbital strike. Backing away, wards them. At least for now, G2 won't be able to get that plant down. And Leaf, he's going walks about. At least still going to be spotted here. Trent with another tap. Trying to force this one, still with that deadlock util. It's up and away, but the space and the side is given. Oh, coverage! Trying to catch that one. Bullet to the back of the head, not quite there, Valyn. Making sure that his sight was cleanly set onto it. Now the Thrash plant again, being pushed back and away. It is chaos into the mix. Thrash of his own, right around to the side as a detainment, and we're seeing every single possibility. G2, they've just dominated it. Plant, shut down, time is of the essence.
They can't get it back.
Celtics just need to stay alive. Swarmed everyone after him. It's barely there, but G2, they finagle it.
That was so close.
How in the world?
Zelsis, almost the boy who lived in backside. He had everything to do in that situation. Trying to get rid of the hordes of players coming towards him. Now, apart from that, though, G2 played a masterful round.
Yeah.
Valyn's mid-rounding is perfect to get them from site to site. Trent tapped without using Wingman on A so that it wouldn't die to the orbital strike. He knew that he was baiting that ult out, so he would still have Wingman later. In the end, Leaf had to be Wingman.
And notice as well how they use the information that the lurker of Leaf is finding on that B site. He spots the deadlock off site again. John QT playing far too passive there, and he has to, but that's the cue for them to actually pull through the teleport. Again? Zelsis, what is going on?
The machine, the cheat stopped working.
The level of play that we're seeing here in this game, especially from G2's side, the pivots that they're calling, identification of the win conditions on the other side, leads me to believe that I think Sen would still be very dangerous against most of the teams we have here in Americas on Bind. Especially with new ideas, the deadlock being thrown in there. It's tough to go up against a composition like this and think about all the things that it can throw at you and that you have to be aware of. And it makes me very impressed that G2 have been able to come out here, identify key win conditions, and play the map so well.
Yeah, I actually remember a conversation I had with Josh, the coach of G2, at the beginning of the split, talking about how difficult it was to prep for opponents because they could throw curveballs like Sentinels is doing in this map. And they did it phenomenal at the beginning of the season. So you could see those types of curveballs, they're handling very, very well. And I have to also speak about, Brent, the decision to go for something like this for Sentinels at the end of the season. Yes, this is not a must win, but a very important match for them to pull something out like that and maybe get an advantage from. But at the same time, you're also showing potentially a lot for the future.
but you are making the playoff teams potentially waste VOD watching time as well if you go back to a different composition, you know? I also was looking at the map veto, and the fact that they got rid of Haven, that makes me think that they're hiding stuff for playoffs. This is an important game. If Sen win it, they're guaranteed for champs. But also, let's not kid around, Sen are probably going to be able to make champs anyway. There are a few disaster scenarios in which they don't make it.
I mean, it would have to be disaster.
But it would have to be disaster. Yeah. And so Sen, I think, can afford to not throw every single thing that's new that they've been cooking into this game and just sprinkle a couple of ideas like we're seeing with the deadlock while still saving some big hitters, potentially their Haven, for matches that we see later on. It is such a delicate balance as you get into games at the end of the season like this.
We're going to be calling in the priest, I think, to perform the exorcist as well, and we'll send us down to the desk to just buy us a little bit of time. Sorry, guys. Take it away.
All right, so we got a little bit of a tech pause, unfortunately, but we're going to go ahead and make the most of it instead and turn this into a tech pause. P-A-W-S, like a pause.
That's really funny.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
I like that a lot.
Funny. All right, now, of
I
course,
really thought we were done with the silly part of the day.
how dare you? So long as I breathe.
I thought we had gotten through all this silly this week.
So long as I have air in these lungs, we will do silly stuff on this broadcast.
Born to lock in.
Until I am fired.
Forced to
All
move
right,
around.
now.
No, other way around for him. He was born to be silly, and he's forced to lock in every
Yeah, exactly. It's actually very true. Now, we want you guys to send us pictures of your Valorant loving pets using the hashtag VCT Americas and VCT, and we'll go ahead and share them with everyone here. Because there's one thing that no one can ever be mad about is watching cute animals, you know, and do funny
People
things.
Are so fast.
Kind of like
that
this.
was really fast. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a gift, though.
Actually, what I want our viewers to do is to go ahead. Hey, Riv's cat.
Riv's cat looks like a wizard.
It looks
That's
like a man.
Merlin.
There's a guy in there. Like, there's a human being in that cat.
Yeah, he's awesome. So what I want you to do is go ahead and give us your best analysis and then send us a cat picture or a dog picture in your post. That actually would be pretty awesome.
Or honestly, just respectfully, we're going to ignore the analysis. We're just going to geek out about the pictures. So, and just send us the pictures
Jonah's
anyway.
cats are so cool.
Yeah, they really are.
I think he has multiple. I'm not sure. I've seen this one multiple times on Twitter.
Yeah. So there you go. We got a couple kitties, and yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love cats.
Yeah,
I'm a dog guy.
Yeah, can we get some pups?
Where the doggos at? You know what I mean? I should have
Shout
sent
out
the
to
picture
the
of my Stella in. She's a perfect angel.
I mean, you could.
I could right
still
now.
could.
I
You
probably
could,
could.
but-
Oh, I mean, look at that perfect angel. Look at him. See,
He looks very professional.
Yeah, very proper, right?
Yeah.
Just a proper.
Looks like a flight
Yeah.
attendant.
actually, yeah.
He does.
Looks like it will
Is
be
flight attendant
awesome.
the only profession where they still wear those little like neck scarf thingies? I, feel like I've
I
seen
would
it
think
nowhere
so
else.
if you're like Fred from Scooby-Doo, but outside of
Are
that.
those called ascots?
Ascots,
You know
yes.
what those are?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I bought one many years ago when I worked at an Italian tie store.
Yeah?
You should tell the story about your Italian tie store job.
He was.
I
Continue.
actually did, yeah. So, long story short, I worked at Nintendo World and I got fired. So then I went down the street and I was just like, hey man, I need a job. And then the guy was like, hey, you look all right. Can you sell some ties? And I sold a tie and then I got a job.
And then get to the part where you bought an ascot.
And then my boss wore ascots all the time. So
Because of course he did. He owned an Italian tie
He was
store.
a very well-dressed Greek man named Giannis. Awesome dude.
Shout out to Giannis.
And I know his full name, but I don't want to say it out loud. And then he convinced me to get an ascot. And I could not tie that thing to save my life. Kids, don't buy ascots. Okay, they don't work.
But the difference is, kids. When he was doing this, there was no YouTube. There was
That's
nothing to teach him how to tie an ascot. Now,
I should have taught him.
I mean, it's the age of information.
Yes,
and
it
anybody
is.
can learn how to tie an ascot now. Unfortunately for him, it was when the world was still in black and white, and he couldn't do that.
It's true. Actually, everything was still in the sepia tone. You know, so it was quite difficult to navigate the streets. I didn't really know where my left and my right was because everything was basically a different shade of brown.
That's crazy.
Sorry, the color has nothing to do with left and right.
I couldn't tell.
That's not how that works.
I couldn't tell. Look at me. Does it look like I know? In any case, make sure you go nuts. Send us your pictures, and we'll
The
keep the
game's
conversation
actually
going.
been really good.
The game's
to be
been
honest.
fantastic.
I've been really impressed. The first half, to me, just felt like a back and forth of both these teams kind of trying to figure out how to play around the deadlock utility.
Yeah.
G2, I think, at first giving way too much respect and space to the executes from it, maybe being a little afraid of what Zekken was pulling out, because was owning, especially in that first half. But honestly, Icy has been having I think the game where I've been most impressed with him thus far in America's Stage 2. I think he's really locked in, has gotten a lot of critical rounds for them, especially, I think, in that first half, using those nades, playing into the retakes. It's been a great match from him.
Yeah, he had 2 massive rounds. I think one we popped a 4K, then the other got a 3K. Like, guy's been putting in a lot of work. And I think oftentimes we've, rightfully so.
I'm not going to agree with what's about to come out of your mouth.
Oh, I would say collectively everyone has been talking about him being more of a system duelist, a guy that has been, like, more baked into, like, what G2, builds as far as their executes, their strategies, their plans. But you could see just how much he honestly has grown with this team this season. It's been impressive.
Yeah, I think watching him grow
as a relative unknown, as an unknown,
as an unknown. Yeah, sure.
But he's still a system player, and he still is not putting up the numbers of really any of the other duelists on top teams. But they're winning, and he's playing his role that G2 is asking of him.
But then you see, you got your fragging IGLs on each side of the field there, and you were talking, Mimi, about Valyn and. Outside of his performance, just in-game, which has always been stellar, what he has been doing with these calls have been so impressive. The adjustments that they've been making, the way that they've been trying to catch Sentinels like off guard multiple times with the movement around the map, especially in the mid-round, it's been really cool.
I mean, even that round before it almost became a melons moment was such a good call from Valyn. Look at those dogs, though. That's more important.
Adorable. Love it. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is a chubby kitty.
Also, look at the size of that penguin. That penguin's huge.
Yeah, it really is. Long. Really is. But yeah, overall.
What?
Oh, there.
No. Extremely loud, incorrect buzzer.
It is in the name.
Oh, that's sick. This squirrel, we saw him before in a previous Tech Pods. I remember the same person, Hannah, sent this before. And that's such a cool squirrel.
I genuinely thought is that their squirrel? Is that there? Isn't it? The squirrel's in a cage.
It looks like a pet squirrel, yeah.
Yeah, I have dogs and a cat, but here's a squirrel.
Hannah Lee, we need to know the name of this.
Yeah, New York Giants, doggo.
Let's go.
Let's go. New York in the house, baby. The real Giants.
There shouldn't be 2 sports teams named Giants.
Yeah, well, we're the right ones. They're the wrong ones.
And a football team that are both Giants.
Okay.
Get creative.
Be mad at San Francisco, not us. All right, we're New York. We're better. He says
the Giants moved to San Francisco. They were in New York before.
I don't need this negativity in my life.
Opportunity to talk about baseball.
I know, you just found a chance to shoehorn baseball into the conversation.
So, sorry, let's go back to what Valyn's been doing. It is calling. You were mentioning his mid-rounding, and I think there was what round was that we saw where they mid-rounded?
I don't remember, but the one where it came down to the wire with the B finish after the early A fake.
Leaf had contacted his way through hookah. He had gotten a ton of space B. It was all very silent. He had passed all of the deadlock utility, and then there was plenty of noise mid-A. His call back. I mean, Valyn it's so easy to gush over this kid, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's outrageously mature. He's got such a good head on his shoulders. He's a ridiculous caller. And his individual fragging, too, is, I mean, we've talked about it so many times. He's such a valuable asset to the squad.
I think this team has actually played really well into the deadlock. They are, like, at least in my mind, when I think of all the teams in our league, the slowest. The majority of their attack runs there. Taking their time in the default, they're constantly playing slowly. It's very rare that you'll actually see them send one of these super fast executes. And actually playing into deadlock, that fits them well. If you hear the wall go down, you can just time it out. Wait for it to disappear in I think it's 35 seconds off the top of my head.
Yeah.
You can walk past those sensors, figure out where the gaps are in these rounds. I think that's exactly the way Valyn likes to call when he's playing the attack sides already.
Yeah, now, something about that deadlock that I do want to just ask you guys a question about.
Sure.
It is quite interesting. I mean, we all follow pro sports. You tend not to show a hand like this at the last game of the season. And obviously this is a big game and it does have ramifications. But I do find it fascinating to, bust it out now rather than saving it for a playoff.
I'm not surprised.
But I do think that's why. It's because the ramifications of this are enormous.
For sure.
There's a possibility that Sentinels goes from winning Madrid, right, earlier in the year, to now they're in this situation. They go through stage 2 without dropping a single map.
Yeah.
They lose today. They're dropped into an elimination match, and they lose that. And all of a sudden, depending on how points work out, there's a chance they don't go to champs.
It's very unlikely, right? Like, because it would require either Lev or the other one of these teams to basically bomb out. But still, it is a possibility. You don't want to have your year ride on points.
Right, and that's exactly what I was saying. It's a small possibility, but it's a possibility nonetheless. And that's why I think, I'm not exceptionally surprised that they are doing something like this here. And it worked for a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
It really seems like G2 has got it figured out.
Yeah, but then that's the other part of the coin, though, right? It's that you get this interesting composition choice with the deadlock, but now you have a G2 that is figuring it out as the game progresses. They've been countering it, or playing better around it, rather. Maybe not countering, but playing better around it. So, I mean, that could maybe give people a recipe.
For me, I think the first half was defined by the deadlock, how they were using it in the executes and the stall for Sen to win a lot of those like cheesy rounds, and then how G2 played around it. I haven't felt that way about the second half as much, because I think G2 have played very much their normal game on Bind.
Yeah, you know how people are afraid of like AI and machine learning, and that's going to be the future? I'm not concerned about that level of learning. I'm concerned about Valyn's level of learning that fast as the rounds go on. There's not a segue.
Calling him AI.
Humans are always, have always been smarter than
the machines? You want to say that publicly so the Skynet can hear you? And
the Skynet.
The Skynet is
what, the bots on Twitter?
Yeah, you know, I mean, they're learning.
But again, to go back to his mid-rounding and how he's been able to use that to effectively call around this deadlock stuff has been really impressive. And I think if he can lean into that more and they continue to download what the game plan is for deadlock and Sentinels on the defensive side, there's a really good chance to run away with this.
For sure. Well, you know, guys, I really appreciate this thoughtful analysis. We're still filling time. So
we're gonna have some fun.
We're gonna have some fun. Let's go ahead and play a game, shall we? Test your guys' brain power. A fun game of where you at.
I own at this game.
Oh yeah, you actually are quite
world champion at this game.
You
is
are
that true? Yes.
Very good at this game. We need, if possible, if we can get some inquisitive game show music playing in the background down the line. Doesn't have to be right now. That'd be nice.
Now ferociously googling inquisitive game show sounds.
All right, so hey, look at that. The rules are simple. Okay, we're gonna see a very small portion of a map, and our guest is gonna have to guess which one it is. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Bring up our first map, and you guys at home can go ahead and participate as well. Where is this located? It's a record shop.
Yeah.
Breeze?
It's towards attacker spawn. It's just to the right when you're there.
All
when
right.
you walk out from attacker spawn, it's to the right.
And I would assume that is correct. I think it's gonna play the reveal in a second here. Oh, look at that. It is Breeze.
Oh,
wait a minute.
I'm a fool. It's a music shop, not a record shop.
And then I'm also a ding dong because I was like, look at this. I believe you.
I mean, you even like said it.
I was saying it, but you see, that's how you win an award. You segue out of that by being wrong. So now, moving on, let's go.
Idiotic confidence in that.
You really did. Let's go ahead and take a look at another map. Ooh. All right, where's this at?
Icebox Kitchen.
Yeah, the drawing makes me think Icebox as well.
This is where the diet milk is.
A little bit to the left.
No, to the right, actually.
To the right.
Yeah.
Icebox Kitchen. See, the thing is, you're right. I didn't want to agree with you because I just was burned. I've been burned by Mimi's confidence.
You have trust issues.
Multiple times in this broadcast.
Golden boy. I'm a confidence man.
You really are.
Else.
You're that type of guy. You really are.
If I was born on the 1950s, I'd be like pretending to be an airline pilot for Pan Am.
Were you gonna say 1980s by any chance? Because I was.
I couldn't figure out my decades for a second. Also, I wouldn't. Don't do fraud, kids.
Don't do fraud.
Shout out, don't do fraud.
All right. I mean, VCT Americas is a strongly anti-fraud broadcast.
This is very true. It's strongly anti-fraud.
Let's
go, even though we employ Sideshow. Let's go ahead and check out our next one. Ooh, it's a drawing too. Is this Icebox Kitchen, guys?
This one's actually Breeze, I'm pretty sure.
Don't. You keep.
Just
actually,
the wood.
The wood on the side.
The wood and that paneling, that texture.
And the sheet metal. También, you know?
I'm pretty sure. I think it's Breeze too.
Yeah, that looks like Breeze.
Run it.
And it is Breeze.
Wow, redemption.
I gotta say,
so sweet.
The amount of detail around the map is genuinely impressive.
The thing is, I'm not getting these because I look at these. It's just that the textures are like, there's a lot of textures that are used in a couple places on the map. So then if you spot one of them, you can lock in.
I love all the attention to detail for areas of the maps that people never see. Like,
yeah, sure.
How unless you're Yeti, how many people are like looking into
Yeti, by the way,
like
the observer who does all the free cam shots, or at least most of them, and also who made this game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, shout out Yeti. Who else is looking there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And also, a shout out to the map designers for putting that level of detail.
That's the other part too, you know.
Right.
They love a little there.
But also the observers.
But the observers and the map designers. All right, we got another one. Let's go ahead and take a look. Hopefully you guys are having fun. We're so sorry about the tech pause as well. Hopefully we'll get more tech pause pictures as well. I would say bind?
My complete guess is Haven.
Actually, no, Haven, because of the color of the wood.
Yeah, that's what.
That might actually be in. Oh my God, in a window.
If I were to do a detailed guess, it would be up in the ceiling of B on Haven. But I don't have high confidence.
I think it's in the garage in Haven.
I'm gonna guess like some random corner of Abyss that nobody has seen yet. Like.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't know Abyss well enough to.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what it is. I'm actually kind of curious now.
Okay.
And
it is Haven, but not where I thought.
And not where any of us thought.
Interesting.
Holy crap, I did not know that was there.
This is a big nerf for low settings players like myself.
Yes.
Just like, that bear does not exist on low settings.
Yeah, no, of course. Oh, we do also want to provide a quick update. With the 100 Thieves loss, Leviathan have qualified for Champions. So congratulations to Leviathan. We just got that in from our production. So basically, 100 Thieves loss today helped Leviathan solidify the clinch for champs, and 100 Thieves loss also helped the map differential and helped in the map differential as well as the head-to-head.
And if you're confused how they've already clinched when we haven't even played playoffs, it's because they're guaranteed, based off how the bracket is going to work out, that they're either going to win a match, or if they lose, because of the number of points they have now, they're guaranteed to get the point slot at this point with how the playoff picture is kind of shaping up.
Exactly. So congratulations, Leviathan. You guys have been awesome this stage, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can do. Yeah, what a recovery.
I mean, you compare the team who stage 1, the lower final against G2. That game was like, it was some really, really rough Valorant. Like, they did not
look so out of
cohesive
sorts
in a lot of ways, and they take a risk to make a coaching change heading into stage 2, and I think they've really reinvented themselves, had some great fundamentals. I've been so impressed with stage 2 Lev, and congrats to them.
Yeah. Probably the most, given how this stage has gone and how things look as far as playoffs go, probably the most unsurprising reveal, but it has been a massive turn from stage 1 to stage 2. I think you're absolutely
right. Yeah, for sure. Well, firstly, we want to thank you guys for bearing with us for this tech pause. We do appreciate you guys sending in the pictures as well. That was pretty awesome. We always love seeing. Send more, please. We gotta love our doggos and kitties. You know what I mean? They're so awesome. But in any case, so we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, hopefully we'll have some things sorted. But if not, well, we'll figure it out from then. But we thank you guys so much for sticking with us. We'll see you soon.
It's happening, possibly, potentially. I don't want to curse things again. The amount of times I said this now over the course of this map has been 3 times. That was the 3rd time.
No tech crew on the stage. All players sat in seats, ready to go, surely. I believe this time.
Every single player got a chance for a bathroom break there.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Dude, that is
real
incredible.
timeout.
That is actually incredible.
Tactical timeout.
That is actually incredible.
But that does mean that we're ready to go. We're back in the game.
Yep.
Poor Kappa does not have a chance to hang out with anybody.
That's what I mean. Yeah, context-wise, tech pauses, teams aren't supposed to discuss. They're not supposed to be talking at any point during them, so timeout is going to be used to actually talk through some adjustments. I mean, if you cast your mind back to the earlier portions of this game, good luck. I've already lost track. But, you know, only a few rounds is going to be standing the difference for G2 taking this first map.
And they've won 5 rounds in a row on their attack side, including the bonus round where they had worse weaponry, including a round where they managed to completely mess with Sentinels' rotations and loop from B to A, back to B. The attack side calling's been masterful from Valyn. Sentinels needed an adjustment. Now they've had time to think about it, visualize it, discuss it with the coach. Time to put it into action.
These rounds coming out of timeouts are oftentimes where G2 get the fastest. It's not looking like it on the minimap just yet, but Sentinels has to be aware of that sort of thing. You've got a double stack for them on Shark to maybe fight off a lurker.
This haunt, pretty common. When you want to go to try to find a kill through that smoke towards the bottom of B long, nobody steps into it. Against a team like G2, that's only really going to happen if they were set up for a fast B hit. So that might have been a hard read from Sen. G2 loving to do those fast hits out of the tag timeouts.
You gotta be careful. John QT's angle is actually really far back, not fully protecting Zekin on top of Truck.
Yeah, pretty far away from any likelihood of that engagement. You are right. There's a risk there with that angle. Needs to be watched for. Down to the minute. Okay.
And that's already calling Zekin off. Meanwhile, there's still 2 players here. Good thing that John has that wall, though.
Now you're going to see the scurrying away these players. I mean, Sentinels just completely giving this one up. This is still Showers being held by Valyn the entire time.
He's planning to wait out this wall and then hit. It's going to be so low the time.
Yep, just breaking it down now, though. Going to see if they can take this one forwards, making sure they deal all the appropriate utility. Plan goes down, and there was nobody onto the side from Sen to even deny it still. Ults have to be used. There's a showstopper around to the side. An adjustment there. Snaps it to the floor. Icy bringing down second. G2 looking primed and ready. Lighting up the feed. It's up to 12 for G2, and all they need is the 1 round.
And once again, the mid-rounding phenomenal from G2 throughout that entire thing. And Valyn, like you mentioned, just waiting out. That wall that gives John QT a false sense of confidence that it's not going to be towards this site. He falls all the way off and has no way to actually use his annihilation. And that could have been crucial. You mentioned the time was running down there for G2. He could have potentially denied the plan, or at least allowed some time for his teammates to get in positions.
We were talking about a fast play coming out of the attack timeout. Looks like G2 delayed it by 1.
Looking like they might want to try and go for this one here, at least to punish onto this B long line. Orbs picked up by Zelsis. He's still sticking around.
No, for sure pushing through this.
Yeah, deep showers lurk occurring as well. This should be giving a bit of an indicator here for Sentinels.
G2 know that there's a stun behind this smoke. It's been the setup in a number of situations. They ran into it one time, weren't punished though.
And look at this, finally, Sentinels taking some advantage of the slowness of G2. They've got a lot of info, but Zelsis in trouble.
He's got to be worried. Bullets are firing through. Zelsis. He's in the danger zone!
Excuse me?
Absolutely absurd stuff. Jonah just drops him, and with that, first kill going away. Barry Mesh dropped down. Sentinels the only consolation. This fast flank occurring. They're going to be rapid through with it. Caesar's dropped down. Annihilation to buy them a little bit more time. Nightfall
flank
follows through. It's all concatenated. Flank is denied. Damage is done to all of them, but it has to be the spray through second at least. Dropping Jonah P. Wading through the murky depths there. The smoke not covering it. John QT just none the wiser. Only 2 to stand from Sentinels here. And this is the map. G2. Complete control. Second having to get a marathon sprint on, even just to regroup. Time taken away with a pit drop down. There is no chance at this point. It has to be a bit of luck on the side of these Sen players. They want to stay in this map. Perfect in terms of discipline. G2 deny any chance of that.
And perfect as well in terms of that attack side. No mar, no flaw. Perfect 7 rounds in a row. It was stutter stop as we went through the tech pauses. But also, G2 just had mastery at all times over the attack side. Even in that final round, Second didn't even know whether to continue flanking because he was worried they were going to teleport to A.
Yeah, this is perfectly polished.
So much just misinformation being thrown into the mix here by G2, and they're calling mid-round adaptations. Valyn absolute masterclass from him as well. He's going toe-to-toe, one of the best IGLs in the business. And of course, we're going to be stepping away momentarily. Up next, GB the Analyst. I'm sure you've got plenty of them, but listen, I'm sure they've got plenty, even more to break down for map number 1. Don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
Red Bull gives you wings.